Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, I want to have a few words in regards to the subject that has been affecting us humans for the past God knows how many thousands of years 30, 40, 50,000 or more. Namely, fear. I think fear has affected and continues affecting everyone's lives every day, if not every day, every other day, in different ways. So, there are different kinds of fear. The fear of passing your exam, the fear of what will happen tomorrow, the fear of losing your job, the fear of your girlfriend leaving or your boyfriend leaving, the fear of lack of money, fear of what the neighbor will think of you, fear of what the society will think of you, fear of your peers, fear of your religion, whatever your religion is, the people in that community, the fear of your countrymen that you would have of them, of if they could question your patriotism or whatever else. The fear of, how it was yesterday and will it be the same today, or would you want it to be the same today, or what will it be tomorrow? All kinds of fear. But we're not talking about a specific fear. We're talking about trying to find out what is fear. What is responsible for fear? How does it appear? Well, obviously, we wonder about this question and yet we are affected by it, so we try to guess it, find out what it is. Like somebody says something and the other one says something, and we kind of understand something about it, but not the whole thing, and we come up with an idea of what fear is, and then we analyze it, and then after that we kind of settle with some kind of a result of these analyzations that we did, and we kind of feel like we're dealing with it, while all these analytic thinking will take us far away from the simplest thing we can do, which is observe fear. Just look at the fear, just like a rose that you see in a garden. And you have many ways of thinking about it. One is, oh, I've seen these kind of roses before in my auntie's home, back where, which year, and suddenly, by all those thoughts, you're no longer in the presence of that rose that you're trying to enjoy, because what your thought associated that rose with bunch of other times and thoughts and experiences, and you're no longer here, you're in the past, you're somewhere else with another rose and you're no longer really seeing what is it that you wanted to perceive, you wanted to understand, you wanted to enjoy and experience. But the best way to understand that rose is what? Just observe the rose. Smell the rose. Look at the rose. Don't analyze it. Just look at it. When we simply abandon any analysis or perception of something and simply focus on its reality, on its actuality, of that it's present in that very moment. As you know, every moment things change, and we need to go to the past to understand what's in front of us, or nor do we need to have the past come into the present and modify itself and project itself to the future, and then we go there and try to interpret this what is in front of us from some possibilities that what it could be or could become, and so on and so forth. Best way is simply capture that moment. You and what you're looking at should have no difference by time or thought, which is both the same, is it? We can talk about it later, but it is already talked about in the books, just mind you. So getting back to the fear, so the best thing about understanding fear is to observe it, to look at it as what it is and understand it. So let's first understand what brings fear. Well, isn't it true that whatever we are, the whole of us, is about what our consciousness contains, the fragments of our consciousness. And how does that consciousness appear? We've talked about it before. An action results in an experience, experience results in knowledge, knowledge becomes a memory, and from the memory, thought is born. From the thought, action, from the action, experience, from that experience, knowledge, and then from that knowledge that goes into the memory, and collectively memory expands, and thought always is born from that consciousness. Thought is born from the field of the consciousness, the field of the known. And since action experiences knowledge, and knowledge is always limited, therefore thought is always limited. So thought is recognition of reactions, actions and reactions. So isn't that true? That whatever we want to do, our mind, our thought does it first. I want to go the other side of the room. My body doesn't go first. My mind goes first, my body follows. Remember we talked about it in the other session, that we are made out of mind and the body. And once we learn the relationship with the mind and the body and be able to coordinate the two and move them together, then we manifest our total power. So now, since the body can be limited in its movement, such as if I'm sitting down here and you lasso a rope around me to the point that I can't move, but the tighter it wraps around me, while my body becomes rigid or immovable, my mind becomes more active. Therefore, there is no way that you can control or lasso your mind if you lasso your body. What I'm trying to get at is that you can limit the movement of your body, but the mind can go to the moon in a second and back next second, ready to go Mars before you know it, and explore everywhere. And for everything that we do and everything that we create and everything that we advance to and explore, the mind is where it gives us the knowledge, learns from it, and creates the memory which stores what it has learned. So then we, on that premise, on that field, thought is born, which helps us to do other things and so on and so forth. So mind and body affect each other in a way, in many ways, and most important one is that the mind does not follow the body. Body follows the mind. So if that's the case, whatever our body feels, mind must be creating it. Other than the physical poking or physical reactions to objects or experiences, or sicknesses and pains and things like that. We're talking about thoughts in relation to fear. So therefore, if that is true, what we feel and what we do, and thought is actually instigator of what grows out of our consciousness and how we feel and how we see things, and therefore, can we say a thought is actually responsible for fear? Well, you think about what will happen if neighbor thinks of you. What will happen if I lose my job? What will happen if I don't have money? And all these things, then your body reacts to it. All the thought creates this worry and this fear. And so thought is one of the factors of fear. We create fear by our thoughts. There is no fear just like love exists. There's no fear exists in that way. Yeah, we may see an animal rushing at us, or a truck is about to hit us, and we simply move, or some danger and simply move. That's survival. That's not the fear we're talking about. We're talking about the movement of fear based on the field of consciousness and the role of thoughts. So what else is responsible for fear? Well, what we usually think is on the basis of what happened before that we're concerned about creates fear in us, or what may happen in the future. And neither one are anything that actually exists in actuality, but we worry about it and we create that thought which leads to fear, where in fact, at the very moment that we are where we are, it's the safest place. There is no fear here. There's nothing happening, because with the moment that we are in, present, this moment is made out of lots of little moments. And in these little moments are so small that really nothing can have a chance to develop as a danger. It's so small. And this moment is just gone. The next moment, now I'm in the next moment. Now I'm in the... So all these little moments for the present big moment, which that itself is very small, is very safe. So the best thing for us, really, is to understand that time is another factor of fear, creating fear. So thoughts and time, because we say something happened yesterday and I wonder if it will happen today, and I'm worried about if it may happen tomorrow. So we're either thinking about the past, worry about that, create that fear, or the future, where, like the game we used to play in high school, we would run around and somebody with their little tennis ball was supposed to hit us if we were going from there to there, and we would only be safe if we were in a higher ground than the schoolyard level. So we had to be on top of something. And while we were going from that high ground to this high ground, they could have hit us. The high ground we're safe. So the now is the safe place to focus on, instead of having our mind constantly move about the consciousness, which is either in the past or in the future. Which means, of course, there is a way that in one of my books I've described why also present moment is the strongest state of our physical being. And I demonstrate that, of course. How it's demonstrated is already said in there. And I try to make maybe short demonstration video so you could also see it, but in detail is in the book. So what's the best way then to stop fear? Is to actually observe it, to look at it. When it's about to arise, when it's about to bloom, you simply look for that fear in your brain. You actually imagine your brain and look for it. Where is that fear is being created? While you're looking at it, the funny thing is, while you're searching for fear in your brain, imaginary, there is no fear. You can't find it. The fear disappears. Which means, if we can stop the movement of thought in consciousness, there would be no fear. And how can we do that? It's explained in the book. But in the meantime, the best way to do is to simply, if you focus on the present very moment, every moment, full focus and attention to the moment, then your thoughts are not creating anything based on the information in the consciousness, because that is either in the past or in the future, and you're using the information in the consciousness. But if it's a now and you're observing it at that moment, you're not accessing any information in the consciousness. You're just observing how one thing actuality is. And that therefore puts the consciousness movement and activities of thought in it in neutral, at ease, which therefore does not require any production of anything, including fear. And when we understand, whenever fear comes, which often is new every time, the feeling of it's new, but its recognition is old. So when you recognize the fear, or say, quickly just say, well, I've already dealt with that. I don't need to go back into it again. Otherwise, I constantly have to recalculate and recalibrate everything. Like if the computer wants to every time recalculate every program, every notion, and every information, every possibilities it has every time, even though it's already done it before. So rely on your on the way that you've already handled things, and then don't go back in there when a fear is reminded by you of somehow some trigger brings the old fear back. Recognize that's old fear. Okay, that's fear. I recognize it. That's it. Go on. Come back to present and focus on the present. And as long as you're in the present moment, that's the safest place to be. And the fear will not bother you. Observe it as it is. That moment, it disappears. Hope it was something for you to ponder. We can talk about it more. And thank you, and talk to you later.